In this video, I'm going to be sharing 10 appetizers that only have 4 ingredients or less. In fact, the last one only has 2 ingredients, but that does not mean they are short on flavor. These recipes for these appetizers are so easy, so delicious. So let me show you what they are so you have these ready to go when you are invited last minute to a friend's house, or last minute guests are coming over, or you've invited a whole gang over to watch the game. These are going to be great for all the occasions. All right, let's get started and I'll show you what I've whipped up.
I'm starting with the appetizer my family requests the most, and that is these oyster stuffed pepperoncinis. It may seem unusual, but the flavor combo is perfect. You start with your pepperoncinis. You're going to take off the stems and de-seed it if you want to remove that heat. And then you are going to open up your smoked oysters and your cream cheese, and the assembly couldn't be easier. Your little oyster, smoked oyster, will fit perfectly into the pepperoncini. If it's a larger one, add 2, and then you'll just add a little dollop of cream cheese right into the top. Add it onto your buttery round cracker, your Ritz cracker. To help them stay, I usually put a little bit of a dollop of cream cheese on the cracker to get them to stick, and then that's it. It couldn't be any easier, and if you don't like smoked oysters, give this combo a try. It may change your mind. My family, though, they love it. I always have to make 2 plates of it, a whole container of oysters, and it goes so quickly.
Announcing. I have pepperoncini stuffed with oysters and cream cheese.
That's all I have to announce to the family for these to be gone in minutes. Up next is another similar and simple appetizer. This time it's pickle roll-ups. This is so easy and so delicious. The brininess of the pickle with the saltiness of the ham, creaminess and tanginess of the cream cheese, perfection. And the assembly couldn't be easier. A smear of cream cheese on your ham, a pickle spear rolled up, and then I cut it in slices and have the pickle showing, which is a great display. I have to make a bunch of these. You saw how big that pickle jar was. You can vary the flavor with the type of ham you use. I usually go with honey ham and dill pickles, but you can mix it up. No matter how you make it, I guarantee you this will disappear. Here is another variation, but a little more elevated to serve at parties. A block of Swiss cheese. We have deli ham here. This is Prima Della Black Forest ham. And I sliced it already. I'm just making it spiral. And then a fresh pickle from our garden. Well, obviously it was a cucumber, and my husband pickled them. And so there you go. 3 ingredients, Swiss ham pickle. Perfect to go with our dipping sauce. I arranged these on my chip and dip set from Pampered Chef, and in the center I'm going to put honey mustard in a bowl for the dipping sauce. This combination was perfect and definitely a crowd pleaser. Up next, I'm making appetizers with Brie cheese, which I think is one of the most versatile cheeses and easiest to prepare. For this appetizer, I'm going to be using my cast iron 5.5-inch skillets from Pampered Chef. They come in a set of 2, and I'm only going to need 1. I'm going to take my entire Brie wheel. I have cut off the top, the rind, and I have fresh thyme, which I am stripping the leaves off of the stem, and I'm going to sprinkle that right directly on top of my cheese. I want to make sure the cheese is good and covered with thyme. Next, I'm going to add white wine, any type will do, and I'm going to add about 1/2 cup. It goes halfway up the Brie, and now it's ready for the grill. You can do this in the grill, you can do this in the oven, you can do this on your stove, but I love doing it on the grill because I can also get a nice char on my crostinis. But look at this cheese. It's so gooey, so delicious. The wine and thyme go perfectly. But let's make another variation. Let's do our Brie this time more savory. We have pesto and sun-dried tomatoes. I have the large Brie wheel, and I also have some parsley. First thing we're going to do is we're going to score our Brie cheese. The reason I want to score the cheese is to make sure that the oils from both the pesto and the sun-dried tomatoes will ooze into the cheese and make it even more flavorful. I have diced my sun-dried tomatoes into even smaller pieces, and I do this on some wax paper or some parchment paper to make sure it doesn't stain your cutting board. And then I'm going to put that in a bowl. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of minced garlic and mix that all together. I add a drizzle of the oil from the sun-dried tomatoes to make it easier to mix together and give it a little more flavor. I stir up my pesto in the jar because a lot of times that oil sits on top, so I mix that all together and I'm going to spread it evenly on top of my Brie wheel. Once completely covered, I'm then going to add my sun-dried tomatoes on top of the pesto. I spread that in a nice even layer, and that's all there is to it. It is ready for the oven, 350 degrees for about 15 to 18 minutes. I sprinkle on some parsley for garnish and then serve it up with some crostini. It turns out to be such a simple, elegant, delicious appetizer. Another 4-ingredient appetizer that is sure to be a party hit are these cucumber shrimp bites. Starting with our cucumber rounds, the tool that is best for getting your cucumbers the same consistency and thickness is my mandolin by Pampered Chef. I love how this thing is not only fun, but it does create this consistent thickness based on the 1 through 8 settings, so you can determine how thick or thin you want it. I have my shrimp here. They are peeled, deveined, tails off, and I have defrosted them and I'm patting them completely dry, and I'm going to sear them in my pan with olive oil. And I have my Greek seasoning. Cavender's is our favorite, and that's all I'm going to sprinkle on these shrimp and then sear them on both sides. Shrimp doesn't take long to cook at all, just a couple minutes on each side, and then I have those prepared. My first batch is done cooking, and now I'm working on my second batch, and this is the longest part of this appetizer. It's just cooking these shrimp. We'll let those cool, and then we're ready to assemble. The cucumber slice as the base. I use store-bought guacamole for this, and the key is to use chunky guacamole so it holds up for that shrimp. And then just top your cucumber with the guac, add the shrimp on top, and then I just sprinkled some cilantro and dried parsley for a little garnish, a little color, and that's it. The guests loved this. It's the perfect crunchy, salty bite. Next up, we're making hogs in a blanket. We're going to take 1 package of beef smoked sausage that's already been cooked, and we're going to cut it into 4 equal lengths. I love any variation on pigs in a blanket, and this is just a little bit different. So you're going to have 1 package of crescent rolls, and you're going to divide it into your 4 sections, and then you're going to make sure you flatten it and have all of the seams pinched together. That way when you roll up your sausage link, no tears or holes appear. Once I have all 4 links rolled up in the crescent dough, I'm going to slice them in equal slices, and then I'm going to put them out onto my chip and dip tray. I will put the tray in the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 minutes or until they're golden brown. I'm going to serve this with a honey mustard sauce, and the only thing I regret is not making more. Up next, we're making bacon wrapped dates. I make this usually at every party. What I'm doing now is taking out the pits, because when you get them from Aldi, they do come with pits in them, so I do want to remove those first. I'm putting goat cheese, but you can be creative with any cheese. You can use blue cheese, Havarti, Swiss cheese, whatever you like, and that's how you can make it different each time. I am going to add those in, and I'm going to wrap it now with my bacon. I start by cutting the bacon into thirds, then we roll them all up. I'll cook them in my air fryer for about 10 to 15 minutes until the bacon is nice and crispy. These are ready to serve up. They are the perfect balance of sweet and savory, and they will disappear so fast. The next 4-ingredient appetizer includes this blueberry delight. Our ingredients are a block of cream cheese, some frozen fruit. These are blueberries. You could also do strawberries, some fresh basil, and some balsamic vinegar. We'll start by cutting our basil into chiffonade ribbons. That means you roll it up just like this, and you thinly slice it. We don't need that much, so I'm only going to do half. Put that to the side. We'll have 1 tablespoon balsamic. We'll add those basil ribbons. Now we're just going to mash this up. I add my block of cream cheese to the middle of the plate, and then I put over the top the blueberries and drizzle on that sauce for the added flavor. I did let my juices run so it filled the entire plate. I thought it gave a great presentation. I add a few more basil ribbons to the top for color as well, and look at how beautiful this turned out. It was so delicious. We served it with Ritz crackers and we couldn't stop eating it. This last appetizer has only 2 ingredients, cantaloupe and prosciutto. I did take a whole cantaloupe and I sliced and cubed it, and my prosciutto is sliced from Aldi. I'm just going to take my prosciutto and I'm going to wrap each of the
melon bites, and then put a little toothpick on there. Now, you can also add a basil leaf and a mozzarella ball and dress it up. I'm just gonna leave this just as is, and I'm going to serve that on the platter directly like that.
That's all there is to it, the easiest of appetizers, and the salty and the sweet is perfect. I hope you enjoyed these appetizers and were inspired. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you on the next video.